Hi YouTube, this is Cypher and I'm back with another lesson review. This is lesson 7, which I did with Micheal on the 16th of October 2019. I am 92 days into this learning cycle and roughly around about 20 hours worth of practice. So in this lesson we basically reviewed what I've been doing before, so the chords and the riffs, and the main part of this lesson was given over to chords, my big issue and the one thing that led to me stopping learning the guitar a few months ago. So a little bit of trepidation, a little bit of apprehension, and I did express my concern about the chords, and thankfully what Micheal has done is to start me off with some simple chords. Now, as with all of these lessons, the chords that we're going to be working on today are in chord diagrams, which will be linked from the description below. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe to the channel and like this video, and if you're following me along, then it's great to have you again. So the chords that we're going to be doing today will be 3 chords, the C, G and E major chords. And to make them easy, these are all single finger chords. So whereas I was having trouble with multiple fingers before, we're stepping into this in a more easy and simple manner. So the first chord that we're going to work on is the C chord, and that is going to be our first finger on the 2nd string in the 1st fret. So that's the B string, and we're going to strum the bottom 3 strings, or string 1, 2 and 3, but in the reverse order, so 3, 2 and 1. And what we're looking for initially is a clean chord, or a perfect chord. Some people call them perfect chords, but I'm looking for a clean chord. So you can hear there on the low E, the 1st string, I'm actually muting it. So what I need to do is just to adjust my hand position or my finger position so that we get that clean chord. All 3 strings are being strummed nicely. Once we've got that position on our fretting hand, then we can just strum that for a few times just to get a feel. Now I'm not lifting my finger off because I want to get that muscle memory to know where my fingers need to be. But after a few strums I do lift my finger off, place it back into that same position. So fret 1, finger 1 on the 2nd string, and then just make sure that we are still playing that clean chord. We are. So we'll just play that for a few times. Lift our finger off, back on into that same position. Off, back on. A slight ringing. I often get a slight ringing on my 1st string. Just make sure that your finger is over, that your fingernails are short, and that you're not touching any of the other strings. So I do that for about a minute, just trying to get the clean chord, putting my finger on, taking my finger off, back on again. Just adjusting it slightly where I get that ringing noise. Off, back on. And just for about a minute, and you're going to find that you get a line on the tip of your finger and it hurts. It really hurts. So you'll probably see me, taking my fingers off and just rubbing them just to ease my fingertips. Now I'm recording this video on Saturday morning, had the lesson on Wednesday, so I have been practicing these for a little bit, and what I will say is stick with it because your fingers do get better and they do get tougher, but they do still hurt, they really hurt. So that's the C chord. We'll then go on to the G chord to give our first finger a bit of a rest, and the G chord is your ring finger or your third finger, and it is going to be in the 3rd fret on the 1st string. So that's that high E string. And again, we're strumming those bottom 3 strings. Now, I like this one because I tend to catch the string below the one that I'm playing, and of course there isn't any on the high E string. So I do tend to manage to get a clean chord on this one. So off, back on, off and on, off and on. And one of the things that I'm trying to do, but I'm not managing very well at the moment, is to take your finger off and put it back down in the same position without actually looking at my fingers. And for the moment I tend to sometimes put it on the 2nd string, sometimes on the 1st string, and often on the actual fret itself, so not in the right location. So just again another minute of just getting that perfect chord. Finger off, finger on, finger off, finger on. And don't forget to play each string one at a time, just to make sure that you're getting that clean chord. So again, I do that for about a minute, and then we move on to the next chord, which is the E chord, and we're back to our 1st finger, which hopefully is not quite so red and sore at the moment, and that is going to be on the 3rd string. So this is the G string, and we are in the 1st fret, and we're playing those bottom 3 strings again, so string 3, 2 and 1. Make sure that you don't foul. We're back to one of the strings in the middle now, so make sure that we don't foul the 2nd string. And also, because we've moved further up the fretboard towards ourselves, just make sure that your palm is not muting the high E string as well. So we've got to really make sure that our hand is in the right position. My thumb's coming over the top, we need that on the back of the neck. Make sure that we're on the tip of our finger. And when we get our hand in the right position, we get a clean chord. So I'm playing that a few times with my finger on the string so that my muscle memory can start to kick in and I can remember what that feels like. But then after a short while we do need to take our finger off, back on, and make sure that we still got that clean chord. Off and on. Off and on. Off and on. Remember, if it's getting sore, just rub the top of your fingers. Just give them a rest for a moment. Or maybe switch to the other chord. So we go to the G chord. Because we like that one. And then back to the E chord again. Just remembering our hand position. And then we'll just play that out. So basically what I'm doing at the moment in my practice routine is to do a minute of getting a clean chord for the C, for the G and for the E. And then once I've got some clean chords ringing out and I'm a little bit more comfortable and I'm starting to get to that point, then we'll start to go from C to E. So as you can see, I need to do a bit of work on this. So just backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. And whilst it's not so easy to ring out each string one at a time, you will get to know when you are catching incorrect strings because the chord sounds wrong. Also, you can start to feel it on your fingers when you're fouling strings. So that was the C to E, and then what we can do is go from C to G, C to G, and then maybe G to E, and back G to E, and just try these changes. And try those for about a minute. So I've been working on C to E for a minute, C to G for a minute, E to G for a minute, and G to E for a minute. So I think that's the circle that I'm doing. But I'm trying to move around those three chords as cleanly as I can for about a minute, and to see how many I can do. And just for fun, I've been making a note of how many I can do, and my best in a minute was about 25 clean chords, which isn't great, but keeping a note of how many chords you're doing does help you to see that you are actually getting quicker. Because sitting here just strumming out these chords can be a little bit mind numbing. It can be a bit difficult at first, but once you get on with it, it does start to get easier. Okay, so that was lesson 7 in this series of my lessons with my professional tutor. Mostly chords, an introduction to simple chords. Remember that I'm going to link to those chords down in the description. In fact, it's going to be all of the simple chords that Micheal gave me. So we did these 3, but there's a few others that we're going to be working on as well. And the next week or so, I'm going to basically be practicing those chords as well as the scale and also the riffs that I've been doing, but mainly concentrating on the chords. So that's this lesson, and I'll see you on the next one very soon. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe. Take care. Bye-bye.